Rev TV brings the world of motorsports into your home with over 100 live race series such as MotoGP, IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, Extreme E, World Superbike, and the newly launched all-electric E1 series. From 2 wheels to 4, from land to sea, your destination is Rev TV.
At Pinnacle Wraps, we proudly offer top-tier liveries that showcase your unique style on the racetrack. Elevate your iRacing experience today with a stunning custom design that truly represents who you are and your passion for racing.
Tonight, under the lights of the last great Coliseum, the march to the ZTRL Cup Series playoffs hits a whole new gear. Welcome to Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway, a half mile of concrete chaos where tempers can flare, traffic never ends, and every single lap feels like you're being shot out of a cannon. We're glad you could join us here on Green Flag TV. Marty Sakala alongside Cade Corbin with Nolan Rempel working in mission control. And Cade, this could be a race where the contenders separate themselves from the pretenders. 4 races left in the regular season, and Bristol is the one place where a bad night can bury your playoff hopes or a bold move can resurrect your entire year.
Yeah, absolutely. Bristol is a track that is absolutely in the hands of the drivers. You have got to be good behind the wheel if you want to get it done here. You can't just sit around and wait for things to happen. You got to go out and get it. And there's a reason why this track very commonly gets compared to flying fighter jets in a gymnasium. So like you said, that traffic never ends. You have got to be good, not only making lap time, but managing that traffic, getting around lead lap cars, lap down cars. Ultimately, of course, the fastest guy is going to win the race. But tonight, to be the fastest, you've just got to be that much better at so many different things. Earning those points is going to be super difficult, super crucial. And like you said, after tonight, just 3 more races until we kick off the playoffs.
A look at the playoff standings coming on in. You see some of the drivers locked in, 6 different winners in the 2025 season, but we're keeping an eye on that bubble line for 16th. Frank Chavez up 3 points on Eric Morton. A bad night, though, for a guy like the 98 of Thad Frio could affect his night. Eric Morton, Austin Guerrero, Sam Longworth, and Adam Hagelin lurking on that cut line, hoping for a great night tonight.
Yeah, Bristol's a place where you can definitely gain a few points. If somebody has that misfortune, we talk about cars that are just so close together. One guy makes one mistake and you find a wreck that's got 5 or 6 of them. If you can stay out of those wrecks and pounce, it's a good way to gain some points. Your Morton, your Guerrero, your Longworth, you're looking to stay out of those incidents to get yourself above the cut line and feel a lot better going into these next few races. Everybody else, same story. You have got to stay out of trouble to keep your side on the right side of the cushion.
The weather conditions here for this evening on the bottom left, 87 degrees, the track temp. And when you compare day to night, Bristol, it's, well, legit night and day. This track is going to have not a lot of grip in it compared to what we normally see in the night races, which means drivers are going to be loosey-goosey throughout the night from time to time.
Yeah, this track, I mean, typically wants to reach out and grab you no matter what the track temp is. But even when it gets a little bit up there, 87 degrees, like you say, hotter than you will see when the lights are on, it makes it, just all the more sketchier. You're on the edge, going into the corner, coming out of the corner, in the middle of the corner, the straightaways. You don't get a break because they are so short. That track temp right there, we'll have to keep an eye on it. We'll keep on the rubber coming into the track. Conditions as they change, that's just another thing that these guys got to manage. So we'll take a look at the schedule here. Like we said, those playoffs beginning relatively soon. Iowa Speedway on January 9th is that first playoff race. So Charlotte, Watkins Glen, Talladega leading into that. But tonight we're focused on Bristol and drivers trying to put themselves in a good position before we hit the postseason.
The fact that Talladega is the regular season finale, it's going to make things very crazy going into the 10-race playoff stretch that begins on January 9th. But Couple races away from the regular season wrapping up here. Qualifying, just about a minute left in the session. Now, qualifying in the ZTRL Cup Series differs than other regular iRacing leagues. You only get one lap of qualifying. So your out lap is very, very pivotal here. Once you take the green flag, you're on the clock.
Yeah, typically a lot of iRacing leagues will give you 2 or even 3 laps to qualify, but you have got to hit the line with speed and under control of your car, otherwise you're going to flush it all away. Already seeing some very solid lap times being set. We'll get that starting grid for you here when it wraps up in just about 30 seconds. We'll see who is starting on the front row for tonight's race.
28 drivers make up the car count here for Bristol Motor Speedway, and inside this bowl of noise, there are no easy laps. You're in traffic by lap 10. The line moves constantly. Pit road might be the most unforgiving single lane of payment drivers go around all season because you got to enter off of turn 2 and exit in turn 1. One mistake on pit road and you're not just losing spots. You're basically losing a lap and maybe more. So qualifying has wrapped up here at the last Great Coliseum. Once they set the race session up, we'll get you the starting lineup. And in fact, we have it for you right here. Jamie Dunning in the 54 clocks in on pole position with a 14.820 to his outside. It's Robert Tester in car number 22. The second row has Evan Stewart, the HB Racing 37, next to Chris Mackey in the Napa Delta number 10. Right out the top 5 is the 88 of TJ Ivy. To his outside, it's Joshua Siegfried in the 2. Row number 4, Terrence Murphy in the 5 to his outside. Stephen Blevins in the 51. And rounding out the top 10, we've got Justin Day in the 69 and the Canadian Jonathan Dominics in the 45. Cade?
Back at row number 6, it's Akari King right for Sky Motorsports in that number 1 car, starting next to Aaron Longworth from Tier 1 Motorsports. Just behind them, Keenan Kimber, the driver of the number 65, starts next to Steven Linger from the United States. Back in row number 8, Brian Matthews of Gator Motorsports next to the number 7 of Samuel Longworth. He'll roll off in the 16th spot. And just behind them, back in P17, it's Frank Chavez in the number 23, starting next to Chris Gaxon. And rounding out your top 20, Daniel Emilio Marakin starts next to Douglas Ivey.
One more driver getting some time. It's, I believe it's Thaddeus Friel Jr. in the 98. Then the rest line up via iRating. Jason Steptoe starts 22nd. Blake Hewlett starts in 23rd. Austin Guerrero in 24th. 25th, Ted Gamble. 26th, Dave Shively, And one more row here for you. Ethan Farless, the E4, Wayne Graves of the 07. Those are the drivers that did not qualify. They'll be lined up via their iRating. One unique rule as well that ZTRL Cup Series does here is that the top 3 in the regular season forced to take an EOL when we take the start of the green flag. Robert Tester, TJ Ivy, and Jonathan Dominics all starting for the back tonight. Really makes the competition, really makes the series a lot more competitive.
Yeah, those drivers, we saw them qualify towards the front of the field, so we know that they have pace. Going to have to dig themselves out of that hole early. It's going to start at the beginning, and it's going to start really soon here. You can see the field already rolling off to take the pace laps, and at only a half mile, these laps are not going to take long at all.
Let's give you the tail of the tape for the race. 275 laps the distance with stage breaks on laps 75 and 140. The fuel window is at 30%, so expect the fuel window about 60 laps or so. So a pit stop is guaranteed in stage number 1. 4 sets of tires, no quick repairs at all. So you got to be patient. You better make sure you keep your nose clean. 1 lap until we take the green flag here. Cade, your keys to victory tonight.
Well, I think tire management is something that's not going to be a factor. You look at how short that fuel window is. You look at this first stage. You can't make it on one stint, so break that sucker in half, and we'll see guys pitting anywhere from lap 35 maybe to lap 50. You're not going to have to save your tires at all. You're just going to be able to go for it. Same thing in the second stage, and a little bit of the same story there in that final stage. So don't worry about saving anything. I think it's going to be the driver who can put it all on the line. But something you said earlier, Marty, really seemed important, and that's going to be keeping your nose clean. A car with damage is just not going to get it done.
Well, we're glad you could join us for the ZTRL Cup Series. iRacing pace car set to make the left-hand turn to pit road. This is Bristol. It's showtime at the last Great Coliseum. Fighter jets around a Coliseum. Jamie Dunning leads the opening lap. Evan Stewart in second. Barely makes the pass on Chris Mackey. He leaves his nose open, though, for Joshua Siegfried to move up to the bottom step of the podium as they go door-to-door in the corner. Low line going to be the place to be here early at Bristol Motor Speedway, but that groove's going to change throughout the decade.
Yeah, as you get going here, once these tires get a little bit warm and the track takes a little bit of rubber, you're going to want to be in that middle. Saw a little bit of contact between Siegfried and Mackey. Mackey put himself in that second lane, but I think as this run goes on, yes, he's going to be able to clear Siegfried, although I don't think he's going to want to because he does want to be in that middle groove. Got a little bit loose over the bumps there and still side by side with the 2-car.
That's the concrete here at Bristol, and the low line can have some bumps from time to time. You're riding in-car with Justin Day for just a moment in the 7th spot. Battle for the lead, though, breaking out. Stewart challenging on the outside of Dunning, and is trying to use that 28 degrees of banking to his advantage. Hold the phone, though. Let's be close to see who got it at the moment of caution. But we got 2 cars around in turn number 2. 13 is Marroquin, excuse me, and the 22, Robert Tester. And this is the area, yeah, this is where if you're the 13, some drivers are not going to like that he didn't hold his brakes there. Here's a look at what caused the first yellow here. Watch the 13 of Marroquin. Or does this start up near the front? It does. That is the 23 of Chavez who makes a great save, but then just comes up into the quarter panel of the 13. That will brings out the first caution here, Cade.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened at the front of the field, but just goes to show you as soon as you get down on that apron, here it is. 23 is going to wash up, gets that inside wall, does not hold the brakes, I think, as much as his competitors would have liked, and gets up into the 13. Other car on the wall there, can't exactly see. The 22, big storyline there. That was one of the drivers that had to start this race from the rear of the field. Just shows you how treacherous it can be if you find yourself back in traffic. Lucky to have no damage from that wreck, though.
And same for that 54 as well. Jamie Dunning, who probably hit a code brown moment early, and it's going to have to deal with that for the next 270 laps or so. So the moment of caution, iRacing scored Evan Stewart as your race leader. So it's very key when you're side by side at these short tracks like Bristol Motor Speedway that you want to be leading right when that caution comes out. You want to have your nose right up front, because sometimes here at Bristol Motor Speedway, especially in the next gen's, Cade, track position can be king.
Yeah, like we've seen already, passing can be difficult. 2 cars get side by side. There's advantages and disadvantages to both lanes, and they kind of get equaled out. Really difficult to make ground, which is why those top 3 points position drivers that had to start at the rear are going to have a very difficult time. Going to be a story to watch all day. But meanwhile, if you can get that clean air, that's something you just don't have to worry about. And right now, Evan Stewart has the cleanest air of anybody. He will have no one in front of him when we take the green here. Looks like it's going to be 1 to go as the lights on the pace car are going to turn off, and we'll be back racing on lap number 10.
So Evan Stewart, fastest lap of this race so far, selects the bottom here. He's next to Jamie Dunning, that's row 1. Chris Mackey, Joshua Siegfried, that is row 2. Terrence Murphy, Stephen Blevins on row 3. Justin Day and Aaron Langworth, row number 4. And Bakari King Wright, Keenan Kimber round out your top 10 as we get ready to come back to the green flag. A very long race here at Bristol, longer than typical iRacing leagues. It is all about patience here throughout the day, especially if you want to get some racing going here. Stewart the right to fire first. There he goes, back to green. This allows Chris Mackey to have an advantage as well on the restart. He's able to get side by side with Dunning. Get back on the throttle first, though, as Dunning got a little bit sideways, move Mackey up to second, while Siegfried and Murphy do battle for 4th.
Yeah, Mackey, I think, just got a little bit too aggressive. Once again, hitting the wall. I don't think there's going to be any damage to that car. The real damage is the track position loss. Now he's under fire from Terrence Murphy. Murphy sneaking his way up to the 4th position and looking for 3rd. Behind them, that first side-by-side battle is Day and Blevins. Car around at the back. Huge contact, and we are under caution once again.
Wayne Graves 07, 84, Ethan Farless. Second yellow flag waves.
Still struggling to get going here. This just shows you how difficult it is to avoid wrecks even after that yellow flag has come out. This wreck happening a little bit closer to the rear of the field. Another car damaged, I think, farther down the front straightaway. We'll see if we can catch that in the replay here. Marty, what do you see?
This is the 07 of Graves as he gets sideways off at turn number 2. And turn 2 at Bristol can really bite a lot of people in the dust, no matter what car or truck it is. Locks on the brakes. 23 Chavez catches a piece of it as well. And watch Farley. Ooh, kisses him right there on the right front cheek.
Farless almost had that car locked down, but just not quite enough. We're going to ride along now with this driver close to the rear of the field, but still, all he can see is smoke. Nothing you can do there.
Yeah, it's tough when you're in that cloud of smoke. It's just completely blinded and you're just hanging on unless you've got a virtual spotter, not a virtual spotter, a real spotter that can help you out from time to time. So you see Farless right side of your screen for a moment before disappearing, making his way onto pit road. Single pit road here tonight, so under green flag, along with the yellow flags. Gotta enter in turn 2 and exit off of turn number 1. Basically what they said in the driver's meeting, if you try to go down pit road and cross a blue line, that's the danger zone. That's gonna ruin your race.
Yes, something interesting that I'm seeing here, though, a lot of drivers coming into pit. We mentioned that stage, I believe, going to be lap 70.
Yeah.
So if you pit right here, you can make it through that entire stage without having to pit again. I'm kind of surprised that the leaders have stayed out here because they've put themselves in a position where they still have to make a green flag stop. If we don't see another yellow, everybody else good to the end of the stage. So going to be an interesting one, a little bit of a split strategy here very early in the going.
Yeah, the stage 1 break at lap 75. Ivy, Hewlett, Dominic's Tester, Chavez, Farless, Graves, Morrow can all coming in. I'm going to ride on board here with a couple of drivers. And I am hearing the clutch being used. Very weird to say that in stage 1. Evan Stewart's got his clutch pushed in. I think Chris Mackey does as well. You can see the telemetry on the left-hand side of your screen if anyone's got the throttle pushed in. Once that white goes out, you see right there with Stewart. Had the green going off there. Yep, he's got the clutch pushed in there. Then it's got the throttle pedal engaged. So already trying to save fuel so they can make it the distance. It's risky because if you run out of gas here, coming to the stage checkered, you're going to lose a lot of track position and maybe even a lap or 2. So coming back to the green flag. Stewart on the bottom, Mackey now up to 2nd. Dunning in the preferred line this time in 3rd. Terrence Murphy, Justin Day, Joshua Siegfried, that's the top 5. As we're back up through the gears here at Bristol. A nice time to restart as well from Mackey with Stewart, so we cut down in front of that 54. Murphy gains another spot. He's through the 3rd position. We got trouble in turn number 3. One car goes around, and another car T-bones them. 2 as well at the same time. That was Ivy that went spinning in the 33. Steptoe Kimber. 5 car at least accident here at Bristol.
Yeah, it was 5 cars, at least in 3 different places, probably totaling 15. There were about 3 wrecks that happened simultaneously. Saw a couple of the points leaders that had to start this race at the rear involved in those ones. Taking a look right now at the 54 back through the field. I think there was contact there. And yeah, once you spin in front of the field, just know where to go. The 88 locks it down, looks like able to keep that car straight for the moment, but then when they get back onto the front straightaway, runs out of room, and the wreck continues. More cars piling into the wreck in turn 4, and you're only going about 20 miles an hour, but that contact still has to hurt.
That was Keenan Kimber that made the contact with Ivy. Here's a look in real time, just goes in way too deep and yeets him in turn 3. And everybody's just trying to scatter. Oh, I didn't see that. Kimber also going around there off of turn 4. So we know that's TJ Ivy correction.
Yeah, TJ Ivy in the High Rock machine. And it can be super difficult to try to predict when you're going into the corner. You have to do exactly what the guy in front of you does, especially early in the going. If you, like you see right there, you drive it in a little too deep, you brake not quite enough, you find yourself buried in the left rear quarter panel of the car in front of you. And once that wreck gets started, it takes a long time for it to stop. So unfortunate for those drivers, I think that's not going to be any DNFs from this race. Everybody able to continue here. Looks like most of the field still on the lead lap, but you don't want to have to pit if you don't have to at this stage. And unfortunately, a lot of those drivers forced to come in and take care of some optional repairs.
More importantly as well, you don't want to be suffering damage too at the same time, because again, we mentioned this going into the race, no quick repairs at all. And Bristol is one of those short tracks where you want to have aerodynamics because of the speed around this place along with the banking.
So we'll see how that shakes out. You can see still 24 cars on the lead lap. Ethan Farless 1 lap down in position to get the free pass. If we see another yellow, we know we're going to get one here in about 54 laps with the end of stage number 1, but we may see one before then as well. Evan Stewart, Chris Mackey on the front row going to lead us to the green. Terrence Murphy, Jamie Dunning, your pole sitter behind them. Murphy's been coming up through the field. Dunning has been sliding backwards just a little bit. Going to try to turn that around as once again we're racing 21 laps complete here at Bristol.
Stewart holds serve. Dunning down to second. Door-to-door off for 2 for the 2 spot. Mackey able to clear Murphy. Dunning with company from Siegfried now for 4th position. The 2 car, the preferred line off for turn number 4. Siegfried up to the 4th spot, but he doesn't have Dunning cleared just yet. Justin Day wants to play around as well in this battle for a top 5 spot.
Yeah, Justin Day in the 69 trying to move in, wraps that yellow line, trying to do a little bit of experimenting. You saw Siegfried actually get cleared there by Jamie Dunning, was not able to make that pass. So the 2 car tucks back into P5, Day P6. Here comes Akari King right up to the 7th position, but he's under fire from Blevins and Longworth. Those 2 cars, the first side-by-side battle on the track. I think Blevins in the preferred position here, but excuse me, that's the 42 of Longworth, not letting him get clear. Yes, now he tucks in line.
And Longworth didn't get the corner exit he really wanted because it forced him to have a shallow entry in turn 1 at the same time. Look at some other drivers here near the back of the field. That's the 707, Chris Gaxall in the 13th position, or give me Gaxall rather. And around the outside comes Ivy trying to recover after spinning in that caution flag moments ago. Blake Hewlett also up there battling for position. Hewlett, one of 2 drivers early in this race, up 9 spots. The other one, Thaddeus Friel Jr. Well, each of those drivers off to some good starts.
Yeah, Ivy, one of the guys we mentioned having to come from the back, even though he was involved in that last incident. I don't think he pit, got himself a little bit of track position, and now that the field is starting to spread out, he's finally going to get an opportunity to prove why he is one of our points leaders and one of the few drivers who's won multiple races this season. He's got some work to do here, carving his way through the field, looking at the back bumper of Friel Jr. in the 98. Now looking to the inside, he might be able to get the move on corner exit. They're going to be side by side down into turn 3. I think the 98 is in position. Yeah, sorry, there's a car on the apron there. That's the 1 of Akari. Yeah,
King Wright, no caution flag as he spun below the apron as we stay under the green flag. Started back in the 11th spot earlier in this race. But go ahead back on TJ Ivy trying to recover. It looked like Friel Jr. when he made that pass got really tight. And that's something you don't want at Bristol one bit. You do not want understeer to put yourself up on that wall and basically ride it.
You have got to get the car to rotate. You can really do that by modulating the brake pedal, and that is what makes the drivers who are good at Bristol excel, is they know how to manipulate that. We're going to get a look here at the incident with the 1. Looks to me like he puts the power down a little bit too hard on corner exit, and that's what kicked the car around. Replay started a little late to know for sure. Here we go. Here's a little bit of an earlier look. And he's
going into turn 1.
Yeah, I think I know what happens.
Yep, Calamity Corner strikes right there. You can see him just trying everything to save it. The safer barrier, luckily, helps him out, but that could lead to possibly some toe link damage on that left rear. King Wright still has kept his car on the racetrack at the moment. Scored in the 21st position as they stand. Look at Dunning once again, challenging Murphy for that bottom step of the podium. Dunning led a couple laps early on before that caution flag bit him. getting edged out at the moment of that first yellow by Evan Stewart, and has just been dropping positions ever since. Mackey up to second, Murphy into the third spot. Now, if you're Dunning, do you just try and follow Murphy, try and force him into making a mistake possibly at the same time? How do you now race this out here at Bristol now that the drivers, hopefully that they've gotten a groove on?
Well, I think right now you've got the moment where you have an opportunity to really feel your car out. I'm seeing shade come over the track. That is going to cool it down a little bit. It's going to change how it drives. You're finally getting some competitive laps in traffic. Oh, Joshua Siegfried spins it on the front straightaway hard in the wall. Look out. No,
everybody barely misses the man that started back in the 6th position. And this time it is turn 4. That bites the driver, the number 2. And you'll see what happened here. He tried to save it, but just put a little bit too much right wheel into it. Right there. Siegfried 95 points up on the cut line. Coming into this race, and this long run, I should mention, has brought a lot of drivers down pit road. Our leaders are in the pits to top off on fuel, and we'll see if maybe tires becomes a factor as well. Looking at a lot of these pit stops before our 4th caution of the race. A lot of them were fuel only. Let's see if anyone decides to go with some tires here. Remember, 275 laps and 4 sets of tires. We're watching the Stewart pit stop, and he just tops off on fuel and good to go. Mackey, Murphy, Dunning, Justin Day, a majority taking fuel only. I don't see anyone here taking 4 tires. Cade.
Yeah, I think you've only got 4 sets to make it in this race. So we're going to see a look riding along board with Jamie Dunning. This was back under green. Now back it up to Blevins. 51 car, was barely missing the 2 of Siegfried. But you've only got 4 sets. I don't know if that includes the set that they started this race on. But only 4 sets means you kind of have to ration your tires. I think sucking it up and kind of making this entire first stage work on a single set. Talk about tire wear not being too big a factor, and that's something you're absolutely willing to do. But when we see everybody pit at the end of the stage, I think that's when you make your first tire change, get some fresh rubber for the rest of the race. Right here, though, really interesting. Your leaders are drivers that stayed out on that previous yellow. They've already pitted earlier in this race, so they should be good on gas to the end of the stage. But a little bit of a shakeup here at the front. Jonathan Dominics right now leading.
Yes, top 6 drivers staying out. Doing the math here, crunching the numbers, you basically want a new set every 55 laps or so, but because of all the yellows we've had in this race, so far it doesn't seem like it's worth it to go for tires. That was our longest run of the race so far, so now we'll see if track position really is king here at Bristol with the front 3 rows staying out. Jonathan Dominics, Blake Hewlett, Robert Tester, Jason Steptoe, Douglas Ivey, and Samuel Langworth. Remember, Tester, points leader coming out in the regular season standings. Dominic's 3rd. They both had to start from the back of the field tonight, along with Ivey, with the regular season rules. Here we come back to the green flag. 42 laps complete. The start that the top 2 really wanted. Tester able to clear Steptoe for 3rd, still side by side. Ivey and Longworth, really not a spot that you really want to be in if you're Evan Stewart, because this could allow Chris Mackey to capitalize on maybe an opportunity. He's got to run underneath here for the 7th spot, possibly. Look out! Around goes Samuel Langworth, hard to the inside wall. Ever stacking them up. The big one at Bristol with one on his roof.
Yeah, huge wreck. A lot of front runners involved right there. One car still spinning like a top. That is the 61 machine, excuse me, the 51 of Stephen Blevins. TJ Ivey says, get out of the way. And once again, under yellow, like you said, the big one on lap 45.
Is the risky play when you stay, if you stay out or you pit and you got to deal with that track position. It all started with Ivey and Longworth making contact in that battle for position. And Longworth just pinballed his way back up into traffic. The first victim, Justin Day, and all of a sudden it just turned into a Waffle House, as Rick Eshman would say, because we scattered them, we smothered them, and we covered them. Look at that. It looks like a junkyard out there, Cade.
It absolutely turned into a junkyard. I can imagine at least 3 or 4 of these cars are not going to be able to continue, at least competitively, really thinning out the field here and ending the hopes of some of these drivers. We're going to take another look at it here. The 7 and the 33. What I notice here is the car right behind them was the first machine on fresh tires. And so I think they felt a little bit of pressure to stay ahead of that car and keep the track position, and when they pushed just a little bit too hard, got a little bit tight, caused that contact, and unfortunately at least a dozen cars yard sailed from that contact.
There are going to be a lot of drivers that are going to be ticked off because they had nowhere to go. It was none of their business. And already they're going to be done on lap number 47 with a big one breaking out.
And that was 2 of our top 3 involved in that one. You talked about the pre-race EOL. Both the 88 and the 5 car were involved in that one. TJ Ivey and Terrence Murphy.
Right on board here with Blevins. Yeah, hang on to this one, folks. This will be a wild ride. Absolutely nowhere to go, and just look at that view of concrete.
Ooh. Scary. Reminds me of Joey Logano at Dover in 2009 with a very similar ride. Here's taking a little closer look at Longworth.
He was the first to get spun. Very hard hit. And you see there with Blevins, nowhere to go once the 5 came up.
And nowhere to go for most of these guys. The track completely blocked. It's only a couple dozen
with a 54
feet wide. So, wow.
The 54 as well. Jamie Dunning also involved as we're getting set to come back to the green flag. Dominic remains your race leader here. Ivy restarts 6, but he's got front end damage to his 33. And we're not even 2/3 of the way through stage number 1 just yet. Remember the first stage break on lap number 75. Dominic's able to hold serve on this restart. Mackey underneath here on the 33 for 5th. And Mackey moves up a spot. Now a run coming from Evan Stewart on Hewlett, Cade, for 3rd.
Yeah, Hewlett's one of the guys trying to defend his track position. Stewart's the one who can make it to the end of this stage. They both can make it, but Stewart has pit more recently, trying to stay out of the rear end there of that 37 car. This is for the lead. Tester points leader to the inside of Dominic's, and it looks like he's going to get it. Dominic's runs the high line to try to maintain some momentum, but Robert Tester clear into turn number 3.
Tester out front now at Bristol. 2 wins on the season. 1 at Daytona, the other at Kansas, and a bunch of top 3 finishes this season. Only 2 finishes from outside the top 10, that being Dover and Richmond. Here's a run once again by that 54. Remember, was involved in that last accident of Jamie Dunning. This is against the 5 of Terrence Murphy. 10th spot on the line here. Final stage point I should mention, I believe, as well. Going into the stage break, which is coming about over 20 laps or so from now. As Ivy, give him credit, still hanging on to that 33 despite the front end damage he suffered in that last caution flag.
Well, he had that damage before that wreck even occurred and just added even more with his contact from the 7 car. Luckily kept it in a straight line right there. Big moment on corner exit.
Contact between Linger and Nakari. King right, stacks up the field. More contact again. A little bit of a door check to Jamie Dunning. Underneath now on Linger for the 8th spot. Caution flag waves. Our 6. We got a couple cars sideways. Siegfried, one of them in the 2. Davis Shively, the 2nd in the 85.
There were 3 or 4 other cars that either snuck by or got a little bit of damage from that one. Another pile up towards the rear of the field. So we'll go ahead and have a look at that one right now. Looking at the 50 car. Not seeing major damage on this machine. So I don't think he was involved. There's the contact between Akari Wright and Dunning.
This triggered it. Yeah, the accident was way back here. Right there. Perfect timing. As the 38 catches the 85 of Shively. And again, Siegfried in his second accident of the night, just with nowhere to go.
It was actually the 98 of Thaddeus Friel Jr. that got into the back end of the 85 car. Already some front end damage to Friel. And just barely tags him there.
Who was that other car that came in there with nowhere to go?
I may have been the 65.
Yeah, I was thinking Kimber as well, and it is him. That Jordan's been bent up. A couple of cars on pit road. A majority of them are the drivers that were not just involved in this caution, but also the last caution for those that had maybe any leftover damage from the big one that broke out.
So we'll re-rack them here. You talk about those stage points, 10 championship points and 1 playoff point going to the leader. So Tester and Dominic's going to be fighting it out for this one, not only for the advantage before the playoffs start, but also that 1 point advantage if they can advance and have that point added to their reset totals. So Tester, Dominic's putting it on the line. Evan Stewart has rebounded from restarting midfield after the pit stop. He's up to the 3rd spot. Blake Hewlett and Chris Mackey also looking to get some stage points here. 1st through 10th going to be awarded championship points at the end of lap 75. So we'll see a little bit of a 15-lap sprint here. We'll see if we can take it green all the way to that stage break. But if not, these guys, you can tell they're antsy. They're probably tired of pacing a little bit. So hopefully they'll be able to get some green flag racing here after that stage break. But for now, those points are on the line. It's Tester and Dominic's, 2 of the best this season, set to roll off 1st and 2nd.
15 to go in stage number 1. A valuable playoff point on the line here, possibly. What a jump Tester had. Dominic's caught hitting the snooze button on the alarm. This could allow Stewart to take 2nd. Hit the easy button on that. Stewart to P2.
That was easy.
Yeah, Evan Stewart basically no issue sneaking by there. Now we're taking a look at the first side-by-side battle. I believe that's Matthews. No, this is Hewlett and Matthews going at it. Right now that spot going to go to Hewlett. If he can get the run up the outside, he'll be clear down the front stretch. Once again, caution is out, and again, it's that Pennzoil machine, the 85 of Dave Shively.
Yeah, Shively got loose the lap before and had to jam on the brakes because he was about to hit the attenuator off of turn number 4. You'll see right here, just too much of the marbles there, basically, Cade. And sideways he goes.
Yeah, he entered that corner super close to the wall. That's not typically something that you want to do, especially on the short run. Also had a lot of pressure from behind from that 65 car. Keenan Kimber was all over his rear bumper. I think got the marbles, overstepped it. Maybe some existing damage on that car contributed to the loose condition. We'll see it here. Yeah, it just rotates a little bit too much. Does a good job locking it down. But unfortunately contacts the barrels and the caution flag flies.
7th yellow of this one. And I think at this rate we've had in the race so far that the I think it's basically unanimous that the pace cars led the most laps here in stage 1.
Oh, without a doubt. That pace car has been putting in work. 7 yellows through the first about 60 laps. I don't know what that would average out to if we keep this right up for the night, but very glad we haven't turned caution flags into a drinking game. Otherwise, we need to find another broadcaster. This is a replay of the big one that involved at least a dozen cars.
And that sent Blevins flipping here at the last Great Coliseum. For those, though, that have just tuned into Green Flag TV, we're glad you could join us for the ZTRL Cup Series. Marty Sakala with you alongside Cade Corber with Nolan Rempel working in mission control. This was on board with Siegfried at the big one. Look at all that cloud of smoke. Oh my, oh, did he miss that?
I don't think there was any contact, maybe just a tap on the right rear, but a fantastic move to get through that one. Good driving from Siegfried. Has not had a great night thus far, but I think right there he used a lot of luck to keep himself in this race. That was a phenomenal move. Wow.
For those new to Green Flag TV, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications. Let us know who you're rooting for in the chat. We'll check in with a lot of you here in just a moment. 25 people watching on the YouTube page. That's awesome to see. So, Tester, Stewart, Dominic, Mackey, Hewlett, your top 5 as we get set to come back to green. Great jump from Tester, not the restart that Stewart wanted. Dominic was able to pull up to that quarter panel to grab the second position. What can Mackey do on the outside? And now here, because I didn't realize this as well going into the night here, Cade. We're now under the lights at Bristol Motor Speedway, which means this grip is about to turn up to the max. And hold that thought, caution waves here for Shively once again in turn 2.
Not been a good night for that Pennzoil Ford. The one leading the race has had a good time. The other Pennzoil Ford in the field, not so much. A little bit of an uneven distribution of luck there. We'll see what happened to Shively. Third consecutive yellow that he's been involved in.
That may do it for the night. I wouldn't be surprised if race control did something with it. And in fact, Shively's disconnected. He's done for the evening. That car basically was not drivable on the 28 degrees of banking.
It looked super uncomfortable over the bumps. Gets up in front of, I believe that's Justin Day. Makes contact there and kind of a slow spin down to the apron. Going to set up a really interesting sprint here once we get going back green. Here's riding along with Day. He's going to watch this spin happen and unfortunately just have nowhere to go.
Right there. See who's checking in, by the way, while we wait. Fisher checking in, rooting for Evan Stewart. Chris rooting for Murph Dog. Jaden also rooting for Evan. And let's see, who else? Rodney rooting for Evan as well. Jaden watching the 51 flip was going, oh, he's upside down. And Evan was so close to being involved in that. Fisher says, rest in peace, Blevins. And Blevins actually said, now that I'm out of the infield care center, at least I'll make a good highlight this week.
Yeah, glad to see that Blevins is okay. I mean, on a more serious note, glad it is a simulator. Those wrecks like that are absolutely insane. Give you a little bit of an update here. Blevins not the only one out of the race. We talked about Shively disconnecting. Justin Day, I think his day is done as well. That may have been the last wreck that he was willing to put up with. So 3 of our 27 starters knocked out of this one. Austin Guerrero not able to take the green flag is what happened to the 28th place car. But we're going to get rolling here, Marty. I think this is going to end the stage. Once we take the green, it'll be just about 3 laps, and whether or not those are all green flag laps, the leader at the next caution flag is going to win stage number 1.
So this won't be a very long green flag run here. We're going to get to the stage break, and then I would have to expect everybody basically to come in for fuel and tires. We'll just have to see. Tester trying to take the stage 1 victory here. Evan Stewart next to him. Chris Mackey, Jonathan Dominic's row number 2. Blake Hewlett, Brian Matthews, that is row 3. Jamie Dunning, Stephen Linger, row 4. Jason Steptoe, Frank Chavez, that's the top 10. 3 to go when we take the green flag. When we hit 2 to go in stage 1, pits will be closed. iRacing pace car is on pit road. Tester's been very good on restarts tonight. He goes actually when it says green flag right at the start of the restart zone. We're back for the green flag. Another good jump. Stewart timed the restart pretty well. Trying to challenge, gives him a little bumper down the back straight, but Tester doesn't react to it one bit. Mackey trying to get a run for second. 2 laps to go in stage 1, Cade.
Yeah, I think that's the best we've seen a second place car fire off on a restart. Evan Stewart within striking distance of Tester now. Don't count Chris Mackey out either at the line. This will be 1 lap to go in the stage. Tester has it by about a car length over Evan Stewart.
Tester trying to take the win here in stage one. Will it happen? He's had a great car all season long. There's a reason why he's the points leader. Tester off at turn number 4. Takes a wild and wacky, chaotic stage 1 at Bristol. Stewart second, Mackey third. Dominic's fourth, Hewlett fifth. Matthew sixth, Dunning seventh. Linger 8th, Steptoe 9th, and Gexel in 10th. So stage 1 is done. Tester, your winner. Step aside, take a quick break. Stay with us. It's live coverage of the ZTRL Cup Series on Green Flag TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
At Pinnacle Wraps, we proudly offer top-tier liveries that showcase your unique style on the racetrack. Elevate your iRacing experience today with a stunning custom design that truly represents who you are and your passion.
Rev TV brings the world of motorsports into your home with over 100 live race series such as MotoGP, IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, Extreme E, World Superbike, and the newly launched all-electric E1 series. From 2 wheels to 4, from land to sea, your destination is Rev TV.
Back here with live coverage of the ZTRL Cup Series at Bristol Motor Speedway on Green Flag TV. Marty Scala, Cade Corbin with you. Nolan Rempel in mission control tonight. Feeling a little under the weather. Nolan, get well soon, brother. As we get set for the beginning of stage number 2. White should go out this time. Robert Tester taking the stage win. A couple of strategies, though, here into this last caution. Douglas Ivey, Akari King Wright, pitting on lap 69 with a penultimate yellow came out. Race off pit road won by Evan Stewart. It's basically everyone took Ford tires except for the top 2s. So now we'll see what the tire wear looks like. You see the upcoming schedule, by the way, on your screen. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. So now we'll see how the tire wear looks like when we come back to green. It's 8 laps of fresher tires for everyone on back except for the front row. Ivy set to fire in the box. We're back to green. And not the jump that Akari King Wright wanted. And look at Evan Stewart. He is already on the attack, but a bad turn 1. Akari King Wright with a clean air and the momentum. The 1 car out to the point for the first time tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway. Stewart just got basically jammed up. And the same as well for Dominic's and Dunning, who raced for 4th. The 54 edges them out the line. And it's Akari King Wright to the point. But still, Ivy not giving up here in this battle. But as I say that, hang on, Douglas. Dirt tracking it off at turn number 2. So much momentum lost. He plummets down the leaderboard like an anvil. All the way down to 18th.
And that car restarted with a ton of damage. You could see it really clearly on the front end, but there was more on the back, on the sides. A little bit to Jamie Dunning. He's going to add to that as he scrapes the wall. But it was even worse on that 33 car, and I think he hit those bumps trying to get the power down on cold tires, and just with all that damage, it did not work for him. Back up front, Akari King Wright leading, but under fire from the clean front nose of Evan Stewart.
Yeah, with that 33 losing it off for turn number 2, this gives Stewart a great chance to pounce and get the race lead. King Wright goes deep defensive into turn number 3, looking out that rear mirror. You see the rear end damage as well off the 1 from some contact earlier on. Here goes Stewart, top shelf where Mama hides the cookies, looking for the lead at Bristol Motor Speedway. They're side by side, drag racing into 3 and 4. Dead even for right now. Stewart preferred corner exit. New race leader, the 37 at the line.
And Stewart's found his way back to the front. This all started when he won the race off pit road under yellow. Not sure what the big difference maker was there, but he beat Robert Tester to line up, and it's put Evan Stewart in the first spot. Meanwhile, Tester's found himself still buried back in P5. I think those two about equal on speed, but the track position has gone the way of the 37 as Stewart tries to extend his lead now over right.
So now we see tires are also a way to go here at Bristol Motor Speedway. You definitely want the grip here tonight. Behind them, Dominic Dunning still racing for third. Saw Dominic's at one moment a couple moments ago. Get on that spoiler of the 54. This is for the back end of Jamie Dunning. A pair of Camrys racing for P3.
I know we're not supposed to have favorites up here in that booth, but I really like that pink paint scheme, and I'm a fan of Tyler Reddick in the Cup Series. That 45 reminds me of it, so hoping for a good run for Jonathan. Dominic's got himself really solidly in the 4th spot right now and all over the bumper of the back step of the podium. He's also been able to put a little bit of a gap back to Robert Tester. I think Tester's the guy that's going to be really good on the long run if we get one. So that'll be a car to watch. These guys are single file. First side-by-side battle is Linger and Matthews. Here comes Siegfried on the outside in that preferred groove. He's going to get clear for the 6th spot.
Yeah, you know, give credit to Siegfried as well. Now in that 7th position. Pair of spins for him tonight. 3 accidents, I think you could say, as a whole. That car wounded, but it's hanging on in that 7th position. See, it's well behind them, Kimber and Matthews for the 8th spot. I haven't talked too much about Brian throughout the night. Good to see him. Oh, I got Siegfried up on the wall. And it accordions. Kimber in that 65. Would love to see up front end damage. That splitter bent in on that Jordan ride.
Yeah, definitely big front end damage to the 65, but it's not hurting his speed at all. He gets to the inside of Siegfried, and it looks like he's going to be able to get clear. I see pretty heavy right front damage on the 2. Don't know if there's wheel damage there, some sort of suspension issue with the Armor All machine, but it's not driving the way it was a few laps to go.
Yeah, you see that fender all caved in. I don't see the right front suspension, though, or the upper control arm on that 2 car bent one bit, so I think all is okay for right now off of Siegfried, but it's going to be something to keep an eye on here throughout the rest of the night. Meanwhile, for third still, keeping an eye on that. Dominic's all over Dunning still. Is put in within a car length or so on the 54. Last time by here, Kate, Dominic's better by about 0.06 of a second-ish.
Yeah, and something that we're noticing here is more and more cars are starting to pick up damage. Siegfried is not the only one who's got heavy contact that he's seen on the right side of his car. You can see it as well on Jamie Dunning, not only the right side, but also the front side, I think, is slowing him down. We know Dunning had the qualifying pace, slipped back a little bit on the short run, but he has good overall speed. Right now under fire from Dominic's, he's able to keep up that defense, but I think it's harder than it needs to be because of that contact. Again, not the only one at all with damage to his race car, but we're seeing the common theme, and it's slowing that the 54 down a little bit. Here's back in the pack, these 4 cars under a blanket.
Yeah, this is the other battle we've been watching very closely. Matthews, Kimber, Siegfried, Hewlett a part of this battle as well. The battle for 7th on your screen. 2 by 2 off for turn 2. Oh, hard up in the wall that time was Kimber. And somehow is staying side by side. Man, I don't know how he didn't lose momentum there.
That's something Kimber's been doing a lot. He's been just throwing that car up in the wall and testing out that composite body. You're not going to cut a tire down in iRacing, and Singer's making sure of that. He's just thrown that car into the top groove, and he's able to get the power down, gives him a really good run on corner exit here. A little bit of lap traffic just ahead of them. That is not a lead lap car. We're going to go ahead and take a look at that once again.
Watch, this is Friel Jr. instead. Been hanging out in the back. There was some contact off the 7. A great save from Friel Jr. And then had a second contact as well from Graves. Great piece of driving there. And, oh boy, 3 wide, very tight going past Friel Jr. Now they get it down to single file for right now. So let's talk about stage 2 here. Okay, this is going to go for 65 laps. Caution will wave at lap 140. So basically here at this point, you don't need to pit one bit. Everybody's going to be okay to go the distance, no matter what, whether we go green to stage checkered or even if we get a couple yellows in between. There's going to be no concerns about fuel here in stage 2.
At least there shouldn't be. I think it's gonna be close. Sorry, I'm looking at this battle here. There was some contact there with the lap car trying to see who's on which lap. Right now looking at Jason Steptoe is a lead lap car under fire from Ted Gamble. They've been battling just outside the top 10 for the majority of this stint. There's Chris Mackey peeking his way into the picture as well. But yes, that fuel strategy pretty straightforward. I think everybody's going to be just about on the same page. Even the drivers who stayed out under the stage break there to kind of flip the stage gave up those stage points to get track position. It's worked out well for Akari King Wright. He's held on to the second position. Blake Hewlett still in the top 10 as well. Here's Jamie Dunning working past more lap traffic. The 7 car bottoming out. Big contact, and that's going to bring these 3 together. Here comes Robert Tester.
Tester challenging for 4th on Dominic's. Going back to Mackey, we saw this was a guy that was up near the front early in the race, but it seemed like ever since the 2 pit stops he's had throughout this race, something's just gone amiss. As you see, was at the 28, Brian Matthews it was. He was in that battle for the 7th spot at the time, and you see some left front damage on that 28, getting out of the leader's way here, and I think he'll bring that car onto pit road. Very loose fishtail light. Ouch, a very hard shot.
Yeah, I've got no idea if that's going to be race over, but even if it's not, it's going to take a long time to fix. That was Ivy on pit road. Oh, the 47, this was a lead lap car. Excuse me, I believe that's Ted
Gamble Jr.
See what happened to him.
And you know, these drivers having these incidents under the green flag, exact same thing, deja vu all over again. This is going to cost the drivers laps of track position. I don't even think there's going to be a single chance that they make it back on the lead lap. If the yellow flag came out though at that time, they'd be fine. But because we're staying under the green flag, they're most likely not going to win this race.
Yeah, I think they're pretty much out of it. Meanwhile, we're looking at this. Jamie Dunning has given up a couple of positions. I think he's had to really push that car to compensate for the damage, and that's hurt his long run pace. He's given up a spot to Dominic's and Tester. Now Tester looking for the 3rd spot on the 45 car. Well, they're going to navigate some traffic. That's the 88, I believe, has gone a couple of laps down. Yes, that is TJ Ivy, 6 laps off the pace, but trying to complete as much as he can to try to salvage some points. One of the top marine points coming into this race. I don't think he's going to leave tonight in that same position, but still trying to slug it out.
You know, give credit to Robert Tester in that 22. It seems like he's got a car that is meant for late in the stage. Would you agree with me on that, Cade?
Absolutely. It seems like he doesn't fire off necessarily a whole lot better, maybe on par or a slight step lower than everybody else. But now that the lights have come on and we've put some laps on these tires, his car has really come to life. I think that's why he's one of the highest rated drivers in the points, and you know, maybe one of the favorites coming into today. It's because he can have that pace at the end of the race. Doesn't really matter where you're running right now at lap 120, but if you can be trending upward and find yourself on top with 5 laps to go, you know, 150 from now, I think that's what Tester's good at, and it's going to benefit him a lot in this one. If he can hang in it right now, you don't got to go up and lead this race right now, although we'd certainly like to, but by the end should cycle to the front. So I think he's showing a little bit of patience here, just sitting behind Dominic's. No reason to go out and beat that 45. Yeah, yellow's out.
That's Jason Steptoe in the 50. That's in turn 1. And this is going to make strategy interesting here under this break. You'll see off of turn 4, a little bit of slight contact with the 5 of Terrence Murphy as they were battling for 14th. And strategy is happening here. I'm watching, you're seeing the wreck. I'm watching a couple of drivers come on to pit road. Stewart in the 37. Hewlett the 87. Chavez, Mackey, Gaxol, just amongst the lead lap cars. A bunch of other drivers stay out. This is a tough situation for drivers to be in here with just under 20 laps to go in the stage. Our first yellow flag of stage 2. Do you pit here, or do you stay out? And it looks like we're going to see some more drivers come in, being aware of all this. So I think for Akari, King, Wright, Dominic, I think for them, okay, just the yellow you wanted, but you're pitting a lap off to the point where you'll lose some track position. Not a lot, but a little.
Yeah, you're going to lose that track position in the short run. Another thing to note, though, is as these wrecks have happened, we're losing cars on the lead lap. Right now, only 12 drivers on the same lap as the leader. So you pit here from the lead lap, you're only going to go back to, where that one car's pitting from. He's not going to even fall outside the top 10. So different than the beginning of the race. You pit here, you don't lose a lot of track position. I think right there for the one car, it was just a splash and go to get him to the end of the stage. So he should be good to make it to the end. Same for Dominic's. So we're going to get another look at that caution as those drivers re-roll off pit road. And once again, the 5, the 50, but you're going to see a couple more cars come piling into this.
The 10 car as well.
Yep.
That's Chris Mackey, and I believe he had a meatball flag out of that, forced to get repairs. It's a tough break for Mackey. He had a fast hot rod tonight. So, we're seeing some strategy. We just had our longest run in the race so far here, Cade. And now Tester and Siegfried decided not to pit under this run. Everyone else on back pitted. Stewart, King, Wright, Dunning, Dominic's did fuel only. Linger, Hewlett, Kimber, everyone on back from the looks of it. 4 tires amongst the lead lap cars. Various strategies. How would you have done this if you had to deal with like the crew chief role or something like that? So we're not going to go green this time. We're going to add a lap.
Well, if I'm thinking about it, everybody probably put 4 tires on under the previous stage or under their last pit stop, which at this point was nearly 50 laps ago, and we have run most of those laps green. So you're looking at coming up on the halfway point of the race. If I've got 4 sets of tires, I'm okay with burning through half of those. So if you want to have some speed, you could maybe go ahead and throw those tires on now. You're looking at the stage break only being 14 laps from now. Put tires on, you may want to stay out under that stage break. Your tires are only going to have 13 green flag laps on them. You could go ahead and stay out, gain some track position if you know you're going to have to pit probably twice in the final stage anyways. I would start that stage with track position, but a lot on the table. The 22 and the 2, of course, doing something different than the rest of the field. I think Evan Stewart's got himself in the catbird seat right now, but we'll see how it plays out. Pace car is off, Tester on the gas, and we're racing once again.
Tester able to hold serve, but Evan Stewart wasting no time through to the second position. And Akari, King, Wright, a little bit of a bumper to the 2 car for Thurlam. No, it's time to go, or you're going to get moved possibly. Dunning underneath as well for 4th at the same time. But Siegfried hanging on to 3rd here, under 15 laps to go as well before the conclusion of stage number 2, the 45, the 54. Now side by side after they were battling a lot throughout that long run we had earlier on. And Dominic's has Dunning cleared for the 5th position. Here comes Blake Hewlett trying to crack the top 5 for the first time tonight.
Yeah, Hewlett's been playing some interesting strategy games, but he's finally got himself where I think he's kind of at least on the level with everybody else. If not, he's got the best strategy. He's now looking to the outside of Dominic's. They're going to be side by side for the 5th position. Destroyed car in the back. I think that's the 707. Right now trying to get out of the racing line, riding the wall. The leaders are going to be coming up quick. Yeah, that left front is destroyed. That's Gaxel.
He doesn't even, that's not even moving. That's Gaxel. Yeah, nothing he can do there. Regardless, staying under the green flag. 9 to go here in stage 2, and Gaxel brings the 707 down pit road. And you can see the meatball flag on the 707 car. Field mostly spread out single file. Look at that race for 2nd as well. Blake Hewlett. How about the car he has got? Somehow made his way from 5th to 3rd in a split second. Was looking for a second, then just got a little loosey-goosey off for turn number 2. Had to catch it, but he's got a very fast car. And again, 4 tires Hewlett took under that last yellow flag. He's got something cooking.
Hewlett's just got to make sure he doesn't cook them a little bit too hard, because again, you could probably stay out at the end of this stage to get track position. Looking for second on Evan Stewart. He's going to get to the right rear. The 65 in the wall again, and the caution comes out for, I believe, the 12th time today.
That's Keenan Kimber. And this is, it was off of Calamity Corner once again. Turn 2, how this started. Yeah, these cars have been wounded up here tonight. They could be recycling cans by the end of the night this evening.
Just same thing we've seen. Has a little too much wheel in it while he's trying to get the power down. Keeps this one out of the wall. Although...
I don't see any contact.
No contact, not on the racing line. I'm not sure that that one needed to be a yellow there, iRacing, but nonetheless, a little bit of the break for Keenan Kimber, still on the lead lap. He's going to have the opportunity to maybe fix some of the existing damage on that car and keep himself inside the top 10. Frank Chavez, Douglas Ivy on pit road, and I believe the free pass under that caution was actually Frank Chavez. So got himself back on the lead lap, now taking the opportunity to pit, and we'll see how that works out for him.
Evan Stewart brings his 37 down pit road, and we should get one more restart before the end of stage number 2. If I were to guess, this should be a 2-lap shootout. Lights still remain on. I would have to assume this is 2 laps to the green flag. Just the situation you want to be in if you're Robert Tester, but here's the problem. He's got a man with 4 fresh tires. Blake Hewlett, I would have to guess, is in the catbird seat to win stage 2 here with the fresh grip he's got.
He's not going to have a lot of opportunities, though. We've seen Tester be super good on restarts. He gets a really good jump early in the box, and if he can open up about 3 car lengths, I don't know if Hewlett's going to have enough time. The lights on the pace car going off here means it will be a 2-lap shootout to the end of stage number 2, as Robert Tester looking to sweep the evening after starting this race from the rear.
Tester stayed out on last pit stop 77. Blake Hewlett pitted on lap 122 for 4 tires. Josh Siegfried is in 3rd, pitted lap 77. Akari King Wright is in 4th. He did fuel only. Jonathan Dominics rounds out the top 5. Like King Wright, he did fuel only. Any takers under that last caution? We did. Stewart, Chavez, Murphy, Kimber, all taking 4 tires and fuel, which should cycle them to the front when we begin the final stage of racing. And Tester, my goodness, that's the restart he wanted. Hewlett did not get the jump he needed. That may have the 22. Get the first 2 stages, but we'll just have to see. 1 lap to go here in stage 2 at the line. Side by side for 3rd. King right over Siegfried for right now. Here comes Dominic's trying to steal the 4th position from the 2. He's got the line he needs off the corner. But meanwhile, through turns number 3 and 4, your points leader Robert Tester. Stage 1 winner. How about stage 2 winner instead? Tester takes it. Hewlett 2nd, King Wright in 3rd, Dominic's 4th, Siegfried 5th, Dunning 6th, Linger 7th, Stewart in 8th, Graves 9th, and Murphy in 10th. We'll step aside here as we get ready to go for the second half of this race at Bristol Motor Speedway. Stay with us. It's live coverage of the ZTRL Cup Series on Green Flag TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
At Pinnacle Wraps, we proudly offer top-tier liveries that showcase your unique style on the racetrack. Elevate your iRacing experience today with a stunning custom design that truly represents who you are and your passion for racing.
Rev TV brings the world of motorsports into your home with over 100 live race series such as MotoGP, IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, Extreme E, World Superbike, and the newly launched all-electric E1 series. From 2 wheels to 4, from land to sea, your destination is Rev TV.
Final stage set to go here at Bristol Motor Speedway for the ZTRL Cup Series. Bryce Calla alongside Cade Corbin, Nolan Rempel, and Mission Control. Reminder to join us next week as we are at America's Home for Racing, Charlotte Motor Speedway. December 12th, next Friday, 7:55 p.m. right here on Green Flag TV. Look at the upcoming schedule as well on the right side of your screen. Some of the wonderful series we put on, and if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on those notifications. So here we go for the restart. 130 laps of racing to go. And a new race leader, Evan Stewart, cycles his way to the front. And everyone else came in. Tester, King Wright, Dominic Stunning. That is the top 5. A great move from Stewart to pit under that last caution before the 2-to-go restart in stage 2. He gets control of the field, and we're back to green. Akari King Wright has the advantage on Robert Tester because of that restart. Makes that look easy. King Wright up to second. Tester tucks in line in third.
Stewart now has the opportunity to use that clean air.
3
to open up
wide.
a little bit of a gap. They're able to make it work. No, they're not. That is the 07 sliding in front of the field. No major contact. Oh, they're still wrecking the 88, the 50, the 98. That's Thaddeus Friel on the apron. And yeah, the caution is out once again.
Saw them go 3 wide in the background. 13th caution of the evening. And it just doesn't work here at Bristol Motor Speedway. The 07 got up into the 5 of Terrence Murphy. And then Mayhem strikes once again. And tonight at this rate, nobody is protected from Mayhem.
Pretty optimistic move by Hewlett to move to the bottom, but he made it work. The big issue there, I think, was the 07 drifting up the track and then overcorrecting back into traffic. And then you can see once the 50, once that car gets pointed to the right, there's just nowhere to go. Ivy involved. A lot of those cars already off the lead lap, suffering even more damage. And so we're going to line him up for another restart. Once again, here's a full speed replay.
Oh, you know what? That may have looked like netcode at the same time. I'd have to ride on board with the 07 to get a better idea. But I don't know. That could be considered netcode possibly.
It did look really, really weird how that car suddenly kicked around. This is riding on board with, I believe, Brian Matthews is going to get a good look at it. Either way, that 07 just turned into a pinball. Good job by Matthews to avoid it, as there's carnage on braking all around him.
Wayne Graves.
Wayne Graves, yeah. See, he starts to drift up the track, and then for some reason that car's going to kick back to the left. Never got up into Murphy, but it starts to spin, and that's when he bounces off of Hewlett to get himself up into the outside wall.
This is Terrence Murphy in the 5. Well, that forced Murphy to get tight, but I don't know if that forced the 07 to get sideways. And then again, Stewart did.
That's the 13 of Emilio American sneaking through that one as well. Don't think there was major damage to him. That car is, I believe, oh, sorry, he is 14 laps down. Last car on the lead lap was Terrence Murphy, but he's going to lose a lap here. And so we now only have 9 cars left on the lead lap. But at the front of it all, it's Evan Stewart and Akari King Wright. Under 125 to go here in Bristol. It's getting down to that pay window. It's open, and Stewart fires it through the restart zone. He leads us into turn 1. The battle for second, Akari King Wright, Robert Tester give that spot to King Wright. Scrapes the wall a little bit, but sneaks away. And now the first battle is for the 5th position. Dunning on the outside of Siegfried.
Dunning able to clear the 2 off for turn 4 for that 5th position. Dominic's pressuring Tester as well at the same time for that bottom step of the podium. It's 7-8 drivers in what could be a DRS train. A stack up, meanwhile, in the back of the field here with TJ Ivy in the 88, but no harm, no foul. Racing continues up near the front. Everyone just following the line at the bottom, and a new fastest lap for Evan Stewart. 14.754. This track continues to come to life here, Cade. It's just getting faster and faster and faster by the minute.
Yeah, that's an indication of those changing track conditions as we get farther and farther from that time when the sun was up. The track gets cooler and cooler, and it just adds grip. It adds lap time. This is taking a look at what happened to that 98 car. Oh, big contact with
saves.
American. Great saves all around. The 50 sneaking through. Steptoe able to maneuver his way around that one, and we stay green.
Look at the lead that Evan Stewart's already built on Akari King Wright. 2 seconds. That's about half a straightaway, I guess you could say. Oh, hang on, the 45 of Dominic's gets sideways right in front of the 54 of Dunning. Caution flag waves. As did Dominic's have something else involved in that accident, possibly? And he did. You see him stopped in the foreground of your screen. I thought he was able to keep it straight, but take a look at what happened again off of Calamity Corner, turn 2.
Yeah, trying to run the high lane. Same thing we've seen all night. Unfortunately, Dunning was there. Gives major left front damage to the 45 of Dominic's. Luckily, gets it locked down and doesn't drift back up into the racing lane. You can see everybody else able to avoid. But still, the caution out for 2. Probably the best cars all night involved in this one.
Been racing each other very well for majority of the race, and that's probably their first contact of the night.
See their free pass going to, I think, Wayne Graves, as he's able to get himself back on the lead lap. He's up to the 9th spot. Dunning in with heavy damage. Unfortunately, that'll knock him 1 lap down. Jonathan Dominic's going to try to save a lap here and keep himself inside the top 10, but that's really been the race all night, is trying to minimize your amount of time spent on pit road to stay on the lead lap, just trying to get the damage fixed when you can. But for the most part, it's been a battle of attrition, Marty, and that's what Bristol typically brings.
Bunch of drivers on pit road to top off on fuel, repair some damage. When we look at this, drivers have basically used 2 sets already here in this race, and so would expect 2 more sets to be used before the end of this one. Drivers pitting recently amongst the leaders on lap 142, so I'd have to guess here lap 222 would be the next stop here.
If you pit on 222, it'd be incredibly close to get you to the end of this race. We talk about a 50-lap fuel window, a 275-lap race, so you've got a really thin margin for error, but I think the majority of the leaders should be able to make it on 1 more pit stop. So they all stay out here to let that play out. We've got 9 cars on the lead lap. Evan Stewart, Akari King Wright, your front row. Stage winner Robert Tester swept them both, looking to complete the night. He'll roll off in the third spot next to Joshua Siegfried, who's had a crazy evening, and Hewlett and Linger have just been hanging in there. Green flag back in the air. Stewart gets a great jump, 2 car lengths on the field going into turn 1.
Here comes King Wright again, outside of Tester for the 2 spot. Staying side by side, Siegfried watching in the wings, in case the two have any sort of touching one bit. Tester nearly touches the apron. He continues to test the bottom there, not the exit he wanted. King Wright still there while Evan Stewart continues to pull away. Stewart's got a car tonight here, Cade, in my opinion, that's been meant for restarts. The lead already at 0.8 of a second. His car is meant for clean air.
Yeah, Stewart really good on the short run. Same with Akari King Wright. He's been super aggressive on the first couple of laps after taking the green flag, and it's allowed him to get some track position. You see right now clear of the 22. I think it flips on the long run, and the best car is the 22. Tester a little better than Akari King Wright and Evan Stewart. So we'll see if Tester can get that long green flag run. The trend of the race has been a lot of short bursts of green flag racing. But if that changes, I think Tester's in the best spot. If not, could come down to the 37 and the 1. Don't count these 2 guys out either, side by side for 4th.
Hewlett trying to recover after finishing 2nd in stage 2, then pitted. He's dropped down to 4th ever since. In fact, he's your biggest mover of the race so far here tonight, Kate, up 19 spots after starting back in the 23rd position. Second biggest is Wayne Gray's up 18 into 9th. No one's even come close to those two when it comes to the biggest mover tonight.
You do got to consider, though, there was that trio of drivers that started at the rear. Robert Tester essentially rolled off in the 25th position. He's already won 2 stages, and he's back up to 3rd, so a little bit of an honorable mention in that category goes to Tester. The other 2 drivers who had to start at the rear not faring nearly so well. I believe one of them was Terrence Murphy. Murphy right now sitting in the free pass position, but 2 laps down, so not out of this race. There he is. Not out, but certainly not in the position he wants to be with just over 100 to go.
Tonight, a littered-filled caution, to say the least, in stage 1. Then a very clean stage 2. How the rest of this race is going to turn out, who knows what is going to happen. Again, you're watching Hewlett, Siegfried, Kimber, 3-car race here for the 4th position. Dominic's kept his car on the lead lap after that last yellow, running in the 7th spot right now at the moment. The 54, though, paid a bigger price than Jamie Dunning. Stayed on pit road that last caution flag for over 4 minutes and is stuck in the 15th position over 15 laps down.
Yeah, that was really interesting. I thought the contact was for sure going to be worse on Dominic's car, but it looks like that 45 got fixed up pretty quick, and it has pace. I mean, he is right on the bumper of Keelan Kimber and Joshua Siegfried. Kimber, another guy who has been involved in a lot of incidents today, but done a good job repairing that car, managing the race. None of the incidents have been heavy contact. Keelan Kimber, I think, running the best that he's been all night, running 6th and looking potentially to break into the top 5.
Siegfried, same way for him, back in stage number 1. Bunch of spins that he was involved in. Ever since his last one, kept the nose clean, running in the 5th position, trying to attack Hewlett for P4. Now the question that I'm going to be wondering here is, we start to get late into this race. You know, I would have to say for Stewart about 20 laps or so from being the first to come down pit road for pit stops here. Could King Wright possibly catch back up to Stewart? I don't think it's going to be the case, even with 6 laps of a difference and how good Stewart's car has been in clean air tonight.
Something else you got to consider too is exactly when you pit. Looking at it right now, we talked about it potentially being a one-stop race, but from here, a 50-lap fuel run, there was over 100 laps to go on that restart. I just don't know how possible that's going to be, how much fuel you'd have to save. So if it is going to be a 2-stop race and you kind of split this stint up into thirds, you might have a little bit of an opportunity to take advantage of the undercut, pit a couple of laps sooner than the guy ahead of you, and gain a few tenths of a second. Tire fall off, not been a huge story tonight, but I think a new set of tires is worth about 2 or 3 tenths of a second per lap. So if Akari King Wright beats Evan Stewart to pit road, that erases half of his lead. That lead was up to 2 seconds, by the way. It's now down to 1.3.
Calculating the math on my end, it looks like about 15, 20 laps to go. So I think splitting that second run in half wouldn't be such a bad idea. Trying to get that track position too at the same time, but maybe for drivers that are in the back possibly, they could be gambling possibly and going as long as they can, banking on a yellow potentially. But we'll talk about that later on here as this race continues to break out here. Under 100. Oh, here we go. We got Hewlett sideways. Caution waves.
Oh, and he tags the 6 back up into traffic. Matthews involved. And that is going to be big contact after the yellow flag had already flew. Oh, Siegfried is sitting on the apron as well.
Yeah, Siegfried had some steering damage as well at that same time. I think here for the 87 of Hewlett, I think that just looks like he caught the apron off for turn 2 and just spotted the car out and just freaked out.
Yeah, Hewlett had been scaring me the past couple of laps. He'd been really overdriving that car to keep himself in the battle. There's the contact with the 28. I think I said the 88, but that is the 28 car that hits the 87 under yellow. He's been super aggressive. Hewlett had been, and I think eventually you could see there, grabs the yellow line, and it just bites him, and yeah, destroys the steering box on that 2 car.
Here we go for pit stops. Everybody on the lead lap is coming in. And this will leave everyone here at a one-stop race with the final stop looking like it could come sometime between lap 215 all the way up to 245 or so. So that split in half wouldn't be such a bad idea as well here at the same time now that we're rethinking strategy, Cade.
Yeah, one thing you really don't want to do is pit under green and find yourself in a position where the caution comes out and traps you a lap down. Looks like Akari King Wright is going to win the race off of pit road, already out of his box. He's going to get the lead from Evan Stewart. Blake Hewlett also already out of pit road. We'll see where they line up, but it looks like the lead of the race is going to go to Akari King Wright. Could be a 2-tire stop.
I'm looking at this right now. I'm going to watch the replay on my end. This was a fuel-only stop. And now makes me wonder if he took a set of tires by mistake earlier on in this race. I don't believe that's the case. Either that or he's possibly saving an extra set of tires just in case, we get one of those late race yellows.
Yeah, at this point, 89, it'll be 88 to go on the restart. I wouldn't want to have to do this on a single set of tires. So if you find yourself in a position where you're all out of new Goodyears, you're going to be a little bit screwed. So I think everybody wants to have one in the bank. I don't know if everybody has used up their 4th set or not yet, but we are seeing Akari King Wright, much older tires than Evan Stewart, but he'll have the track position for the restart. He's going to lead them into the restart zone as the control car. Power down, 88 to go. It's the 1 versus the 37. They are side by side into turn number 1.
Bad jump from Hewlett, not surprised off of that last caution flag. Hang on, Chester! Head on to the wall, the points leader! Solo car spin, we're back to caution. And a fresh car is Gonzo.
Doesn't look like any major damage. I'm kind of surprised. I think the toe link might have got knocked out there, but we'll see. This just shows you how treacherous Bristol is. Even the best car of the night can get reached out and grabbed and thrown into the wall. Everybody else, great driving to avoid. Yeah, cold tires, good point, Marty. Could have reached out and bitten Tester.
So definitely helps out King Wright just a little bit, cuts off a couple extra laps here at the same time. Sounds like this may be a quickie yellow. Terrence Murphy gets the free pass and is already going around the field.
It'll put that 5 car back on the lead lap up to the 9th spot. and back into the fray. I think at one point he was 4 laps down. So between wave arounds and free passes, it's been a comeback night, but a scrappy day from Terrence Murphy, one of the 2-time winners this season, has put himself back in position to possibly contend for this one. Excuse me, Murphy only 1 win this season.
We're on lap 191 here. Get a reminder next week, Charlotte Motor Speedway, which can be a challenge as well. Another animal of its own at the same time. Start time for that, 8 p.m. here on Green Flag TV. Don't want to miss out on that. Marty Sakala with you alongside Cade Corbin, Nolan Rempel, our producer here this evening. It has been a long evening here at Bristol Motor Speedway. But that's what you can get at times here. On a short track like this last great Coliseum. This racetrack seats 160,000. It feels like calling a race inside a football stadium, which this track actually has done twice in the past.
Well, we've got a little bit of a break in the action. Go ahead and looking at those chats on the YouTube stream if you want to interact with us and let us know a specific driver you'd like to have an update on or share your support for. Let us know over there. Seeing some cheering for number 6, Steven Linger. Honestly, we've not really talked about him all that much. Hasn't run up front, hasn't been involved in any incidents, but now finds himself restarting on the outside of row 3 on the same strategy as the leader. So don't count Steven Linger out of this one. He's going to be in pretty good position. Akari King right, Evan Stewart once again in the front row. Pace car is off, and we're going to restart once again.
Oh, a bad restart for Stewart as well. But he timed the restart well with the Akari King right, and now what's the damage going to look like on Hewlett? Even worse as well. But that push was dead on towards the 37. I'm surprised that Evan did not get sideways out of that one bent as King Wright continues to lead. Hewlett hanging on to 4th with Kimber underneath off of turn 2. Robert Tester, even with that spin, only just lost a couple of spots because of all the cars we have in the lead lap. He's down to 6th, and that thing still looks like it's driving normal, and it still looks bad fast.
Yeah, most of the damage fixed for the 22. Working on Blake Hewlett for the 5th spot. Just ahead of them, Keenan Kimber. Just ahead of him, Jonathan Dominics. And just ahead of them, the battle for the lead, Akari King Wright and Evan Stewart. We talk about the difference in pit strategy. These two are on the same pit cycle. Stewart to the inside. He's going to do it clear
easily.
Off the corner, uses the bottom.
That's what tires can
Kimber
do.
Nearly went around in the back, sorry. The 65 was up in the wall, but manages to save it and hang on to the 4th position. Now Dominics moves into the battle for the lead.
Yeah, Dominics trying to get to the highest spot he's been in all race long. Underneath for the 2nd position. Gap is cut down to a half a car length on Akari King right. Now it's all about track position, maybe for Dominics at the same time. Trying to force that one car into making a mistake possibly. We'll have to see. 198 laps are clicked up on the board. We're moments away from reaching 75 laps to go behind them. A challenge here from Steven Linger possibly on Blake Hewlett. A lap car does separate the two of them. It's Aaron Longworth in the 42 off the corner, and Linger may try to use him as a pick. If not, Hewlett will.
There is that battle. Hewlett on the outside. 42 of Aaron Longworth, 19 laps off the pace, but still putting pretty good lap times down. The 42 car looks repaired. Was involved in the big one earlier, heavy damage, but now able to make lap time. Hewlett, Linger side by side. This for the 6th position. I think the 87's in the preferred spot, but the 6th a little bit faster on the bottom. He's going to be clear on the exit of turn 4.
Nice pass made by Linger. Started 14th tonight. And it's running in the 8th position. Evan Stewart commanding the field at bay and has opened the gap up to 1.3 seconds. Stewart's been the best car all race long. He's got a win earlier this year that came at Richmond, so he knows how to work the short tracks here in this series.
Yeah, short track racing in the next gen in general is kind of its own little animal. The next-gen car doesn't drive very well when you start to slide the rears and get the car to throw it down into the corner. It doesn't like doing that like some of your purpose-built short-track cars do. So it's its own skill. You're trying to manipulate the car to do something it doesn't want to do. I think there's some translation of skills from Richmond to Bristol. The way that you get into the corner, pretty high-speed corners, shorter straightaways. So no surprise there that the success carries over. Right now, looking at probably the best battle on track for the second position. Takari King Wright, Jonathan Dominics, and Keenan Kimber, who's managed to keep himself in this race. I think the one car is a little bit slower, either from raw pace or a little bit of damage, but doing a good job playing defense, holding these two up, and letting Evan Stewart now build up nearly a 2-second lead.
Remember, King Wright took fuel only on the last pit stop. Everyone else basically 4 tires, so that could be a factor as well. Kimber now all over the bumper of Dominics. It's a triple threat match for the bottom step of the podium. A car length and a half separate each other. And everyone just basically hugging the bottom here. Go ahead, Kate.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as these guys get to battling, it just brings Robert Tester back in. Now King Wright moves up to the top to try to maintain some momentum down the straightaway. Gonna work for him, but if Dominics can't complete this pass soon, it's going to become a 4-horse battle. Looks a little slow off the corner, but puts the slider on Akari King Wright. Jonathan Dominics takes second, and he sets his sights on the leader, 2.5 seconds ahead.
Highest position Dominics has been in this race, and he's still looking for his first win of season number 2. Best finish on the season last week in Kansas was actually the first race of the year, Daytona, second last week. Finished third at Daytona, his first podium since the season opener. Will love to clinch his ticket into the playoffs without question. Now Kimber trying to break on the podium. I believe for Keenan, it's the highest spot that the 65 car has been in this evening.
Yeah, Kimber can get the third spot. It's going to be the first time he's been in podium position all night. There's some, big damage to the left rear of the one car still, although Akari King Wright has been working on it. For the moment, it's impacting him, so Kimber able to drive in there. Just a half second back at Kimber is Tester. This is probably going to be a 3-car battle. As you can see, Jonathan Dominics has already started to drive away and eat about a half second off the lead of Evan Stewart. 62 laps to go. You're thinking about pit stops. You're looking at lap traffic. This is what Bristol is all about, and it's coming down to it here. You got the best cars at the front of the field and having to deal with everything that goes on.
Stewart's gained about 3-4 tenths since he's made the run up to the second spot.
Whoa, big checkup from some lap cars, 3 wide in the middle. That was the 07 of Wayne Graves that had to get way out of the way. Great job by everybody else to avoid. It allows Akari King Wright to hang on to the 3rd position. But those are those sketchy moments that you find at Bristol.
And even with that stack up as well, Tester has lost some ground for the one of the 65 and the 47 that was of Ted Gamble Jr. getting out of the way of him. So he's trying to rejoin this battle here. 4-3 that all of the eyes are basically glued to here at the moment. This is the closest battle we're watching. Every other battle we have is basically separated by over a second.
More lap traffic to navigate here. That is the 23 car, I believe, going to get out of the way, let the leaders go. Should do the same to Robert Tester. So this battle still in play. Kimber trying to get around Akari King Wright. As the run goes on, those tires are going to equal out a little bit. Both of them going to be feeling the wear and going to be begging for a new set here. Fuel window opens in about 7 laps, so we'll see how soon they pit. But for the moment, it's Kimber still stuck back in the 4th position.
30 laps to go is the maximum drivers could go here at the moment. So wouldn't be surprised maybe if when we hit 45, we see some drivers start the pit. In fact, I just saw TJ Ivy exit the pits going fuel only, but he is 11 laps down. No one amongst the top 7 on the lead lap is yet to pit. First car 1 lap down, Blake Hewlett in the 87, eligible for the wave around as of now. This long run, Stewart's continue to increase his lead, 2.5 seconds on Dominic's Kimber. Not able to find his way yet past King Wright for third. Here we go. Underneath goes the 65. Slide job. Some contact, but Kimber forcing his way through the third.
I think it was only a matter of time before that move was going to happen, and finally it did. Akari King Wright, I think, sort of now deciding he's got to let him go. Look at that, already 3 car lengths opening up between the two of them. So clearly speed advantage to Keenan Kimber in that 65 machine. Highest he's run all night. And now he's going to try to follow the tracks of Jonathan Dominic's. Dominic's, meanwhile, no headway into the lead of Evan Stewart, still separated by about 2 seconds.
50 laps to go. We got another battle developing as well for 6th on the racetrack. Terrence Murphy and Steven Linger. They could be battling for a free pass spot in a little bit. We'll just have to see. Try and get that battle focused here in just a little bit. We do now in turn 1. They're working on Frank Chavez in the 23 right in 9th. And is that lap car Murphy able to weave past it a little bit better? So he's able to open up the delta a little bit to 0.8 of a second.
You mentioned that could become the battle for the free pass. We saw the leader, Evan Stewart, in the mirror of those cars on the same screen as that battle for the 6th position. As Stewart continues to click off great lap times, he gets closer to putting them a lap down and making that battle all the more important. Big wreck. That was
Big
Jonathan
crash.
Dominic's getting into it with some lap cars.
Second place driver. His second accident of the night. And it's a bad one.
Looking at the
Thaddeus
98
Friel
of
Jr.
Thaddeus. No idea what happened there. That's the 87 of Blake Hewlett sneaking by. Oh, he comes off the wall and clobbers the 48.
A very
The
hard
88.
impact.
TJ Ivy's involved. Everybody else gets through clean, but a big 3-car crash inside of 45 laps to go.
Yeah, hood pin severed off the 45. Here's a look at it in real time. You know, Friel just trying to get out of the way for the faster cars here. And just trying to pick up points as much as he can. And so here we go. Final stops happening. And Akari King Wright pitting 1 lap after the leaders do. Stewart wins the race off pit road. Kimber comes out in 2nd. 3rd should be Robert Tester, based off of how much of the field we've got left on the lead lap. And that is the game.
Whoa.
Oh my! Stewart nearly hits the 0-1. I don't know what in the world Wayne Graves is doing there.
Something interesting I saw there. Robert Tester had to back up into his box. Think he had the chance to maybe beat Kimber off pit road, but actually gets past. Here's a look at what happened with the 07 car under yellow. Don't know if this was intentional or just kind of a moment. The right front on the 07 car has been destroyed in a previous wreck, and he turns down to go into the corner.
I don't know what that was about. I can see
He
that
was
car.
trying to get to pit road, I think, and
Yeah.
didn't quite realize that Stewart was there. That's my diagnosis anyways.
Yeah, yeah, looking at that from a better angle right there, I have to agree with you on that. So
Wayne Graves, I believe, was the free pass car and has been penalized for some sort of pit road infraction. Don't know if that had anything to do with it.
I think it was the illegal entrance off of turn 4, because remember, it's a single pit road. You gotta enter in turn 2 and exit in turn 1.
So Akari King Wright, for some reason, deciding to pit a lap after everybody else. Had stayed out, but he's going to cycle up ahead of the lap down cars to restart 4th. Pace car pulls off at Stewart, and now Linger on the front row. Highest that 6 car's been all day. Great restart from Stewart. 42 laps to go. Terrence Murphy now into the 2nd position. Contact there with Akari King Wright. Contact with Linger. And they keep it straight for the moment.
I don't know how, especially with how strung out this field has been. on this restart. Murphy now, highest spot. He's been in the second spot. Akari King right now breaks back into the podium in the third spot and attacks Murphy for second, all the way up to the spoiler that 5, who catches the wall really good and somehow keeps the car straight with just under, with 40 laps to go. Caution flag waves once again. And I believe it's for Ted Gamble Jr. I don't want to say that is true or not. Nope, it's not. I don't know who.
This could have been a lifesaver, though, for that 5-car Terrence Murphy. He hit the wall hard enough that I would worry about some suspension damage on that 5-car. Don't know how bad it is. Doesn't have a meatball flag, but I think if he does come in, he'll be able to repair some damage and get that car handling better. Let's take a look at it. Car on the apron.
That was Gamble Jr., but I'm trying to see if there's some smoke anywhere. I don't see really anything. Are you seeing something different than I'm seeing, Cade?
I'm not. I think we've gone ahead and got ourselves a phantom yellow. About 20 years too late, I think. But this caution, I'm being told debris in turn 4, which I don't see any, but I think that's what it is.
I think a fan threw a shoe on a track. Oh, I think we got this here. Ooh, yep, right there. I just couldn't tell because there was no smoke. The 13 of Marquin got yeeted there. Give him credit. Give him A for effort on the save, though.
And this restart should help us out a little bit with everybody staying out. It's going to cycle all the lead lap cars to the front. I think the issue there was you had Kimber on the lead lap trying to get Marquin basically to get out of the way, and did so a little bit too aggressively, wound up spinning that 13 car around. In this case, all of our lead lap cars, at least all 7 of them, should cycle to the front of the field and not have to worry about lap traffic, at least for a few laps. So that'll give us a little bit of a clear opportunity to see who all is still in the battle for the lead. Definitely Evan Stewart, Terrence Murphy, King Wright. Linger lost 2 spots on that last restart, but he is still in contention. Of course, Kimber Tester, and then Wayne Graves, dealing with damage on the 07 cars, managed to stay on the lead lap as well.
So here's how I'm looking at things as well. With 7 cars in the lead lap, Blake Hewitt's going to need a couple more yellows if he wants to get back in this race, restart in the 8th position. But now keep an eye on Akari King Wright. He's now in the same line as Evan Stewart. He's probably been the best car to challenge alongside Stewart late in this race. We'll just have to see what happens. There will be 35 laps of racing to go when we take the green flag for this restart. Pace car is in. Stewart set to launch. Here we go. And there it is underneath. Makes it look easy. King Wright to second. Race is on for third. Kimber versus Murphy. Murphy trying to defend and crowd him on the bottom, but it's not going to work. Kimber to third. And how about Tester? He wants 4th from the 5 car. And I wonder if that wall damage came back to bite him.
Yeah, we did not see Murphy on pit road that time. Tester gets around him. Now he's under fire from Steven Linger. Looks like he's going to be clear for the moment, so they'll get back in line. Back up front, the gap is about 4 car lengths between Stewart and Akari King Wright. This is the best opportunity he's had all day, I think, to have a battle for the lead, but not as good of a restart. The gap's opened up, and he's going to have to claw some time back here if he wants to get close. 32 laps to go.
Look at Tester, though. He's all over Kimber for third. Remember, we said how Tester's car loves to come to life late in these stages. Well, even if with him getting involved in a spin about halfway through stage 3, he's back in it. Tester to third. 30 laps to go. Next time by. Next target is King Wright, who is 3/4 of a second in front of the 22.
If this race goes green all the way to the end, the next 30 laps, it could play into the favor of Robert Tester. A good car on the long run. It came alive once the lights turned on, and right here he could be within striking distance of those leaders. You see their 13 car being DNQ'd, failing to serve a black flag. One of, I believe, 7 cars now out of this race. The other 20 still out on track. Among them are 7 lead lap cars.
See how the battle shakes up here late in the going. Kimber still trying to fight back though on Tester, and give credit to how Kimber's run. A wounded race car, but with all the wrecks we had, including the big one we had just before lap 50, it's been able to keep the nose clean throughout stages 2 and 3, right in that 4th position.
A couple of other guys I think deserves shout outs. Looking at the tail end of the top 10, Frank Chavez and TJ Ivy, those two not on the lead lap and not really in contention, but they've been able to deal with the damage, get those cars fixed. There is Frank Chavez, the 23 car, and there is TJ Ivy. Started the race at the rear, unfortunately was caught up in all the wrecks that happened back there, but has got himself in a position to get some decent points, keep himself in playoff contention, and here it is. The 65 had a great run at Robert Tester right there. Both of them that last lap were faster than the top 2 cars, so they've put the pedal to the metal with less than 24 to go. Tester and Kimber trying to work their way to the top spot.
Down to a car length. Kimber trying to force Tester into a mistake. You can see the drivers using the second groove. Tires are continuing to get used up here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Meanwhile, give credit to Akari King Wright. You know, Stewart has been a car that's been known for restarts, and typically at this rate he'd be gone. The Akari King Wright has kept this gap close at 0.6 of a second, make it 0.7 of a second here. And approaching 20 laps to go. I would not be surprised if King Wright had something for Evan Stewart, just trying to maybe adjust his line for right now.
Yeah, we haven't seen enough data, I don't think, to really tell. But if I had to guess, Akari King Wright just a little bit better on the long run. Stewart seems to like to build up a lead and then rely on having good restarts. If we don't see another caution flag here, I'm worried about the tire wear on that 37 car. Could make him a little bit susceptible to get caught at the end of this run by Akari King Wright. That's the battle for the lead. Right now, we're looking at the battle for the 3rd spot. Even though Robert Tester got around Keenan Kimber pretty easily, Kimber not letting him go, taps the wall and then blinks out of existence. Don't worry, folks, he's back in turn 3, still within a car length of Tester.
Tester, regular season points leader, coming off that win at Kansas, looking for 3 straight podiums here. If he can just hang on to that top 3 finish. Meanwhile, for Keenan Kimber, 6th start of the season. He's looking for his 2nd best finish of the year. Would be his best finish since round 2 at Dover, when he finished runner-up. From the back end of Tester. And if you're a Tester, do not look at that rearview mirror one bit.
Yeah, Tester's just got to get his eyes forward, stay focused on hitting his marks. He's been doing a really good job running this bottom lane. Kimber's kind of moved up on entry and runs a little bit of a diamond. It hurts his front tires a little bit more, but it allows him to get momentum down the straightaway. 15 laps to go. I think you can start to get in a spot where you might want to just throw tire wear out the window, say to heck with it, and put the pedal to the metal. He's got a really good run on corner exit here. But when Tester blocks the bottom, there's nowhere for Kimber to go. Right there, Tester hits the apron a little bit, washes up. Kimber gets side by side, gonna try to fire it off into the corner, but there's no overlap. And now they've got to deal with the lap car of Wayne Graves. Graves out of the way, and the battle can resume. Let's take another look at it.
This is Aaron Longworth in the 42. Does he get sideways? Yes, he does. And something a lot of drivers have done throughout the night, and I don't know how that's not a caution with how slow he was going. But nevertheless, we're definitely glad that didn't happen for Evan Stewart, but guess what? Akari King Wright has cut the gap down to 1/4 of a second. He is there as we're coming to 10 laps to go. This is not over yet. Lap traffic and Frank Chavez to slow up Stewart a little bit, but he gets out of the way, let the top two race.
Yeah, I think the one car has done a little bit of a better job wrapping the bottom and keeping some long run speed in that car. Now that there's 10 laps to go, he can finally open it up and run his laps. He caught him quickly, but catching him one thing, passing him is another. Akari King right at the line, gonna have 9 more laps to do it. Marty, he is there.
Both drivers looking for win number 2 of the season. Good exit from the one car, cuts it down to a car length, drives it in deep, trying to use that banking as momentum possibly. Is this a situation where if you're King Right, you try the crossover? That's the case, but Stewart shuts the door right in his face.
Yeah, Stewart not only shut it, but he locked it now. Still a car length between the two cars. This time he's going to elect to run the bottom, but Akari King Right really good in the middle groove. Dimes the corner, big run down the straightaway. Stewart taps the wall now, 7 laps to go. Once again, Right goes to the middle.
King Right knows he's very good on the top. The middle line's not really going to work. Keep it right next to that safer barrier, and you may just have a chance. 6 laps of racing to go. Stewart's opening up to a quarter of a second. Not a lot of lap traffic approaching, but it could be a case at the white flag possibly. Good. Oh, King Right caught the wall just a moment, but didn't lose any speed.
Evan Stewart's found something on the bottom here. He's been able to get down and wrap that yellow line to be just a little bit better than Stewart. This is a run.
Wayne Graves, though. Wayne Graves was going
to get a big run down the straightaway. Yes, Wayne Graves already 1 lap down. Hurts the exit speed for Stewart, nearly contact. There's the 42 getting out of the way. Still less than a car length between these two. It's going to be 3 laps to go at the line. Akari King Right, if he can get the run off the high side, he may have a shot, but he's also been burning up those front tires. This could be his last chance. Climbs the banking, goes to the wall, puts the throttle down, opportunity to cut low, but Evan Stewart once again runs the bottom out of turn 4. It's going to be 2 laps to go in the ZTRL Cup Series at Bristol.
If Akari King Right wants it, he's got to go get it. Stewart just hugging the yellow line. King Right trying to cook up on the top. No lap traffic. The leaders are going to approach for the rest of this one. Off for turn number 4. Doctor's jackets in the air. White flag waves. Final lap. And Evan Stewart has turned on the afterburners. In the fish speed, designs number 37 Ford Mustang. Dealt with a challenge from Akari King Right late in this one. King Right sends it. It's not going to be enough. Off for turn 4. Win 2 of the season. Evan Stewart, checkered flag at Bristol. And the race for third, Tester barely beats out Kimber while the 22 dirt tracks it into 1 and 2. But in the end, Evan Stewart, your race winner, takes his 2nd win of the season. We will talk with your top 3 in just a moment for post-race coverage of ZTRO Cup Series at Bristol on Green Flag TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back here with post-race coverage of the ZTRO Cup Series at Bristol as Evan Stewart takes win number 2 of the season. Let's take a look at your unofficial results from tonight, the last great Coliseum. Stewart, the winner by a half second on Akari King right. Robert Tester third. Keenan Kimber in fourth. Terrence Murphy fifth. Stephen Linger sixth. Those were the drivers on the lead lap. Wayne Graves in seventh. Blake Hullett in eighth. Frank Chavez ninth, and TJ Ivy in 10th. Cade?
After this, a lot of cars that limped around with some damage. Ted Gamble lines up 11th. Jason Steptoe 12th. Brian Matthews 13th. Jonathan Dominic's great run all night got taken out towards the end, winds up 14th, just ahead of Aaron Longworth and Samuel Longworth, the Tier 1 drivers there, 15th and 16th. Thaddeus Friel winds up 17th. Then Daniel Emilio Morrow Quinn winds up in the 18th spot with Joshua Siegfried. Really good run early, winds up 19th. And your pole sitter, Jamie Dunning, runs it back in 20th.
Doug Ivey in 21st. Chris Gaxol 22nd. Chris Mackey 23rd. Ethan Farless 24th. Dave Shively 25th. Justin Day 26th. Stephen Blevins 27th. Austin Guerrero did not start the race. A lot of those drivers in the back were involved in the big one that broke out in our first stage. Top three are with us in the waiting room. Let's bring in our race winner, Evan Stewart, in the 37. Evan, win number 2 of the season, but it was not easy. Just take me through holding off Akari King right at the end, and how was your car rolling on the bottom throughout the night?
So that's a prime example of burning up your stuff and holding on for dear life. It was a great race. I didn't really think I was actually going to hold him off when I saw him ripping the top. I just had to stay on the bottom and hold on. I hadn't practiced the top all week. I thought the top was pretty dead here at Bristol, and it was just mainly when I saw him coming from 6-7 tenths back, I started running the middle a little bit, the diamond out the corner, so I could just smash on the gas and have a good run down the back and front stretch. I thought most of the race I was dominant, but of course, we didn't get that luxurious green flag run until the end that we needed. It still wasn't as long as I'd like, but win number 2. I think it was well deserved.
How did you feel your car was on restarts tonight?
I definitely could take off. That's not what my goal was, though. It was mainly the hopefully, if we got a long run, to focus on the long run. I know I set fastest laps, but I was probably only pushing about 80-85%. Just in case we got that. Except for the last 10, I was just going balls to the wall. But throughout the race, I was just trying to stay up front and have a good way to have a good shot at winning this race. We've had a rough couple of last weeks. We threw away Indy, and I spun myself off of somebody last week. So it was good to get the strategy right this week.
Well, next week we go to Charlotte. How do you feel going into that?
That is probably my best racetrack and my all-time favorite racetrack. So I'm actually pretty happy for it.
Who do you want to give shout-outs to on the win?
Definitely one of my friends, Jordan Fisher. We have a community called Fish Feed where we give out tips on people who want to learn and get faster in the next gen. We are no professionals ourselves, but we do put in a lot of time in this car to be as fast and as consistent as we are. So if you ever want to just pop in and see how we run and operate and maybe get some tips off of a few of us, get with me or Jordan Fisher on the Discord. I want to thank Aiden Lucas. He was a big help tonight in helping me keep my head and keeping the strategy right. And then my family, of course, and my friends that are all watching me. It was nice to get a win for them for once instead of wrecking out last week. It's good to bounce back for them. I love you guys and thank you. And of course, you guys do an amazing job. This wouldn't be what it was without you. Also, thank you for that.
Evan, congrats on the win. Second win of the season. Well done.
Thank you.
So Evan Stewart, your race winner, but coming close there in the end, Akari King right. He is with Cade.
Hey, Akari, welcome to the booth, man. You got a copy?
Hey, guys, how's it going?
We're doing good. You guys put on one heck of a show there to end this race. It was a lot of fun to watch. I know for you wanted to be one spot better. Do you think there was anything else you could have done to maybe get Evan there right at the end?
Yeah, I mean, I think dirty air played a little bit of a factor. He kind of figured once I was on the top lane to slide up a little bit off those corner exits, and he got me a little bit loose. But with the adrenaline rushing through, I also could have backed the corner up a little bit more and dove it down and got better of a run. But earlier, I think it was earlier in the race, I came off a 4 and just spun almost. I mean, almost spun. I got it collected, but I was kind of scared to get through that transition off of 4 and do the same thing. So good points race for us. We did, like I said, spun, got to the back and back to the front. So after all of the wrecks and dipping and diving, we finished P2.
Definitely a very up and down day for you and a lot of other people. There was some pretty significant damage to the left rear of that car, we noticed, for most of the end of the race. Could you really feel that? Was that something that was weighing on your mind?
It wasn't really weighing on my mind. When I went to see the boys at, there on pit road, they told me, they said, hey, we're going to try to fix it a little bit, but it's not too much to worry about. We're really worried about track position is the number one thing. So we kept it going, and eventually we did get it all the way fixed. I think they're on the last, I want to say maybe 2 yellows ago, we got a full tank of gas, and we actually sat and got the rest of like the 10 seconds worth of damage or so. So we only lost like a couple of spots, so I knew it was okay for them to fix it all the way. And yeah, they got it all the way done.
Well, congratulations on working on it all night and still coming home P2. No, you wanted one spot better, but still really good showing. Before we let you go here, is there anybody you got to shout out?
Yeah, shout out to, the girlfriend, everybody that watches. You guys for broadcasting every single weekend and week out. Thank you to Luminary Concept, Doug, with the new paint scheme. Luminary bringing their fresh paint off the press. And yeah, I've even got the race suit and the helmet. So thanks to Doug Ivy and everybody else. The boys really worked on it tonight, man. They gave us a okay race car, and we made it faster through when the night fell. And I wish there was another caution there. Like if I get 10 to 15 laps left and another caution came out, we had another set. Everybody else ran through. We had one more set left, but it didn't work out that way. So nonetheless, really fun. Thanks, Evan, for the race there at the end.
All right, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. We certainly enjoyed it up here in the booth. Go have a great night, man.
You too, thanks.
That's Akari King, right? Our runner-up finisher. And rounding out the podium, we'll head to our Robert Tester, finishing in 3rd. Robert, you look like you had a good car to beat, but a tough moment on that spin. Did you feel like that may have cost you the win tonight?
Probably not. The first 2 stages, I just had, I think, a better strategy than everyone else. And that spin didn't really do much. If anything, it just knocked me back 2 positions. But other than that, who was it, Stewart? He was fast, and Akari. They were fast. Once the sun came down there late, started getting colder, the car was just getting away. Just get too tight. Dirty air.
What was working with your car throughout the night tonight?
Just taking it easy, just letting off 50 feet after start finishing line and just letting it roll into the entry, and just taking care of the tires early in the run. But then after that, with 100 laps to go, it didn't matter what I did. Just couldn't save tires. It was just tight.
Who do you want to give shout-outs to on the run?
Oh, you guys first and foremost, and everyone that showed up tonight and watched and supports us. Just want to thank all of them, all the drivers and everyone, my family. Yeah.
All right, Robert, we'll let you go. Great job tonight, and best of luck next week.
Thank you. You guys have a good night.
Robert Tester rounding out the podium. So a great night at Bristol, a wild night at Bristol. That's Bristol for you. We now move on to next week at Charlotte. Cade, final thoughts.
Yeah, Charlotte is going to be definitely a different beast than this one. It's much higher speed. You can run in a pack, I think, a little bit easier, but you've also got to account for dirty air even more than tonight. With these the high speeds, the diffusers on the cars make it super difficult to run in traffic, just in a different sense of the word, because you are going so much faster. So hopefully you'll join us for that one here on Green Flag TV. I think these drivers showed that they can put on a pretty amazing performance, and Charlotte always produces great racing in the next gen. So I don't know about you, Marty, but I'm looking forward to that one. And this was exactly what Bristol was meant to be. Like you said there, we had a little bit of everything. We had our calamity, lap traffic, a little bit of tire saving there at the end. We saw some difference in lines. Man, this was pretty classic Bristol, baby.
Absolutely it was. So with that, we'll bid you adieu on this Friday night. Hope you enjoy your weekend. Make sure you check out the rest of the events on Green Flag TV. Hit the subscribe button and turn on those notifications. In the meantime, we'll bid you adieu on behalf of everyone here at the ZTRL Cup Series, other fine drivers, sponsors, and admins. On behalf of my broadcast partners tonight, Nolan Rempel and Mission Control, Feel Better Buddy, Cade Corbin in the booth with me, Marty Scala saying so long. This broadcast has been a presentation of Green Flag TV. Congratulations to Evan Stewart. He gets his second win of the season at Bristol Motor Speedway. Thanks for joining us. So long, everyone.